Joe did say that she was going to join too.
She's there.
Yeah.
The applicant?
Right here.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cool. Hi. Okay. Hello, everyone. If I say something, Jim, would you
Sure,
be able?
sure.
Okay. So it's 12:02. Call to order. Has everybody reviewed the agenda? Do we have any comments? Those changes?
Nope.
Okay. Any public participation?
Will you mute whatever that screen is there that's talking?
What do you mean?
The black one under the B, under the one would be that one. Whatever that one is, go ahead and mute that one for now. 'Cause that seems to be what's picking up the,
It says he is.
no, click that.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
That might resolve it.
Okay. All right, and then, let's see here. We have an application for a membership from Joe Rogers.
Did we approve the minutes?
Oh, do we approve the minutes for today? Sorry about that. Any objections?
Yeah, so we'll need a motion. I do have a question first, though, that one that's unverified, is that somebody from the public who wants to talk?
Joe?
BRN?
Or is that Ben?
Oh, it could be Ben.
Ben, are you there?
Muted.
I'm seeing the black screen. I think that was unmuted. That's Paul. At least that's what it says on my computer.
What about the B?
There's
There he
Paul.
is.
I don't know who it is.
Okay, well,
If we could do a roll call,
He's
if you
muted.
want.
He's muted now too, and if you wanted a response from
Okay,
I don't know that we need to. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, just in case there was a
Pardon me.
community
Oh.
member.
Yeah,
of course, of course. Well,
okay, so,
all right, let's see. So we do have, so no public participation.
If there's anyone there from the public, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
Guess not.
okay then.
Anyways, I'm just rolling the minutes, but, so we do have a new application for a membership from Joe Rogers.
Do we,
Um,
we need to
We never
approve the
did vote
minutes.
on the,
Yeah.
Okay.
I move that we accept the minutes
second.
Thank you.
and then a vote.
And then we vote.
Mhm.
Okay,
Or
So-
any discussion. and then a
Any-
vote.
any discussion regarding the minutes? Nope.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
okay. That's unanimous.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to remember this. All right.
All right.
Now we're ready.
Okay. Back to the application. So, hi, Joe. We have a few applications. Actually, my, have you had? Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, although maybe I should step away somehow. I don't know
Yeah.
Well-
quite how that works, but
Yes, so have you had a chance to review the resume? Okay. Do we have any questions for Joe?
Well, I'd like to hear more about your job at Lane County Health.
sure. Yeah. So I think you all heard from Teresa Rourke, who was serving on this in this group before, that she had to step away. She had a position change a few months back, so she's still at public health. But she asked me if I would want to take her spot, if that was, you know, something that could work out. Obviously, it's a formal process, but she and I worked closely together in what was the environmental justice program, which essentially was eliminated when we found out that the federal funding that we thought we were gonna, I know you all know all too well how stuff has been going with federal grants. We had the grant with EPA for the Resilience Hub Network, and Teresa and I both were deeply involved with that. When that funding was taken back, a lot of positions were eliminated, including Teresa's position in environmental justice. I'm still working in that broad realm of environmental justice, but more specifically with climate justice. And then it's kind of, I feel like a little bit of a patchwork sort of worker now. I am specifically in public health emergency preparedness. I've been now doing that work for 3 years, really focused on climate justice. So looking at climate-driven impacts on health for community members, especially those who are historically disadvantaged by a lot of things. So when there's smoky air, that's been a big focus of my work, as well as extreme temperatures, extreme weather. So my emergency, we call ourselves FEPRs, Public Health Emergency Preparedness and Response is often left off, but it's there, so we're called FEPRs. I have that hat on, and it's taken a bit of a step back because of having more things added to my job docket, taking a little bit of a step back from some of the projects I was working on air quality issues, but still a big interest of mine. So if I can be helpful in this group in that kind of capacity, that's great. I'm also working now on a project that Teresa had started. She wrote a grant to ODOT to do a transportation equity assessment. And so again, that fell to me when her position got changed. So officially 0.25 of my FT is working on that. I can tell you more about it if you're curious. But right now it's taking a lot more than a quarter of my time. But as things get a little bit more squared away and in place, it should drop down in my time. But yeah, happy. I've been really very grateful for the relationship I've had with LRAPA staff, Travis first and now Matt, and still of course connected to Travis, sitting in on smoke calls when they happen, like yesterday, and just having that relationship where we can kind of bounce off each other. I often will ask clarification questions from the LRAPA folks just on what's happening with air advisories or kind of specifics going on with that, so then I can help put that into risk communications, which is a big piece of my job as a FEPR, communicating that to Health and Human Service leadership and community members, just so they have the heads up about how they can help support their community staying healthy. So happy to answer. I don't know if I can tell you more. Happy to answer other questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sounds as if you've spent an awful lot of time working on things that are very applicable to everything that's done here at LRAPA. Being that you say that you have been working in environmental justice and climate justice, given the current political climate, do you feel as if your funding is stable now, or are people still very concerned? So in other words, if we get you aboard, is there a chance that the position may be eliminated soon in the future?
Yeah, that's a $1 million question. I wish I had $1 million. I have been assured, as much as that can be done right now, that at least for the 2 years that this ODOT grant is happening, that's kind of keeping my job pretty stable. I know it's a 3-year position usually, right? What's going to happen, and even I feel pretty safe in the next 2 years. After that, the hope is that we would apply for further funding with ODOT, but you probably all know that there's been a lot of drama with ODOT recently, so we'll just see if that actually is able to come about. But it's just right now I just am trying to make every day count as much as possible, and there's certainly still a lot of instability within Lane County government at large, but for whatever reason, public health has taken a pretty good hit, and I've been told by leadership that they're gonna look to other places if they have to. do some more layoffs that they'll leave us alone for a while.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's an important question. Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, hi, Joe. Peter Dragovich here. I had a question about, which may not be in your area at the county, but I thought I'd give it a try. And that's the county has been working on building resilience centers around various parts of the geographic area here. And there's a $20 million grant that I believe was put on hold. It's kind of indeterminate right now. Is that project still going forward? Will it be done in smaller chunks, or what's the status of that?
Yeah, that's the grant I was referring to that kind of caused the really close to my home, my base, having job eliminated. My supervisor, Teresa's position, was connected to that grant too. So it is happening in different, more like you said, kind of like bits and pieces, kind of projects that were low hanging fruit or things that were able to be done through work that we're already kind of doing with partnerships. But some things really are on hold, and whether we'll ever see that money, who knows? I don't think anyone's holding their breath. But I'd be happy. I mean, it's a very cool. I was, part of that grant writing team, and it was going to be a big part of my work. So I'd be happy to share more of like what was really meant to happen, what was intended to happen. I'm not 100% up to date on what now is going forth, without that funding, but I certainly can connect to some of the folks that would know. So some of that work that's happening.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It was an exciting project. It's really super disappointing that it's not moving forward like we thought. Hey, Paul.
But Joe, I had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the environmental justice and climate space that you work in the county, with these budget cuts that have come through, roughly how much of a percentage cut is it overall, would you say? Or do you have any idea roughly in terms of full-time equivalents, how much it's been reduced?
I would really have to guess at that. I know that there were 20 positions that were eliminated. There's been a few waves of it. There was already a budget issue happening before the EPA grant that was 19.5 million got pulled back. I believe 20 FTE were eliminated, and I can't remember what portion of those were positions that were vacant that they were hoping to fill that then they got rid of. But just around me, there's been, I'm trying to think, like there's some people like Teresa who is in the union, so she was able to do a sideway, like a position
lateral move.
A lateral move. Luckily she's really happy with her new position, but my supervisor lost her job, but then she was able to apply for another job in the county and it worked out. But yeah, I don't know what percent that represents. If you're curious, I'm actually curious too, where that's all landing, what the numbers are. But off the top of my head, I can't tell you.
Okay.
So this committee works on projects. We serve at the pleasure of the board of directors. And so any project we work on needs to be approved by them first. Usually they have something that they'll assign us, and but occasionally someone will have an idea and we go to the board to ask approval to work on it. So just to that said, do you feel comfortable with that arrangement?
As far as how the kind of chain of command or like having assignments given,
I don't. Just that we're not free to take on whatever project we want.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. That would be the structure. I'd be curious to know more about either what current projects are happening or what maybe is on the horizon. Hey, Travis. But yeah,
Yeah.
as far as like that, how that works, that sounds fine to me.
Well, actually, we're kind of in between time right now where we don't have a specific project from the board. So in that situation, we'll work on educating ourselves about other things in the agency or other topics. Um,
Can I ask a question further on that? Is this committee or council? It's a council, isn't it? Committee. Does it also speak up to the board saying here a project, or like is it a two-way communication as far as identifying priority needs or projects?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're free to suggest things that we'd like to work on, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just kind of depends on what's going on.
I would say and chime in which one. I apologize for being a minute or two late. I was recognizing that we might have a shutdown government tomorrow, and was, well, just from a budget perspective, that's not a thing that's being addressed, and wanted to make sure that for our TAG grants that they had an insight. So that was why I was a few minutes late. But in terms of like engagement back and forth with the board, the Citizen Advisory Committee, as I view it, is a panel to advise the board on questions. And so I think a lot of times in a, perfect scenario, the board says, we have this determination that the board would like to make, and we would like the CAC to give us some perspective on it and help advise this decision that we need to make. So one of those places where that will come up in the short term, and I don't know if this has been shared or not, so excuse me if it has.
Yeah, go.
Is on some rulemaking that ORAPA has underway. So we have our Title 43, which is our asbestos title. So we're working through some rule changes on that. And so one of the items that this committee will be going through is here's what the rules are changing to, what questions, what information can we provide to better unpack and answer these items. Same thing with Title 15, which is our enforcement rulemaking. So the CAC reviewing that. And then a little bit farther down the line, but we're also preparing for a general permitting rulemaking where we have a number of titles that we're looking to update. LRAPA shared with the board last month, at the last month board meeting, what those titles were. And the timeline on that will be within the next year, but exactly when is not fully determined just yet. So that's an example of items that the CAC will be engaged on that will be helpful to the board in terms of like, we think that this is a good rulemaking and we feel that the board can be agreeable to adopting these rules.
And typically is the expertise kind of enough that members of the CAC uses, or is there often a case where you have to do some research or a deep dive on a topic as a group or as individuals of the group?
That's a good question. I don't have firsthand experience to that in the sense that the rulemakings that we've done, we didn't engage the CAC quite in the level since I've been here, but there was years ago before I was at ORAPA, Title 47, which was an outdoor burning rulemaking change that we went through. The CAC was engaged on that, and some of the feedback from the CAC was maybe you should identify these group of individuals and solicit some of their engagement and response. Because, for example, Title 43, I don't necessarily know the asbestos subject matter expertise that exists on this committee, but I think that there's some helpful insight from me as a person reading these rules and regulations, does this make sense to me as an individual, as well as I think the CAC making a recommendation that the LRAPA should run this by these targeted folks or these individuals to get their perspective. That is actionable feedback that the CAC can drive upon too.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a mix of experience. There's a fair number of industry reps who, like, for example, there's some asbestos inspector certified people, people who've worked on asbestos abatement projects. But even just somebody who hasn't dealt with it, it's great to have that outsider perspective of, like you were saying, does this rule make sense to just read it? to the average person, because you can get caught up in jargon easily.
With this Title 43 rulemaking, one of the intents of it was to go through and try to make it a little bit more easy to just read and digest from the get-go.
What a great idea. Make rules and visit things understandable for.
Yes, theory and practice, right?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Joe. Any other questions for Joe as an applicant? Okay. Should we vote?
That's where we.
Yeah, well, thanks for your interest too.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
So tell me, do I stick around? How does this work? I'll close my eyes. I can.
I
Plug
can
my
see if I
ears.
can put her into, I can remove her, but will that make, because I'm only used to Zoom.
Yes, I think that puts her on a like super block list.
Oh, no.
Like a break? Don't do that. Maybe a breakout room of my own. That work?
Oh yeah, can we make a breakout room?
Yeah.
Let's
Or
see.
honestly, I could go play with my
Walk
dog in the
away from her
backyard.
computer For a couple of minutes.
We're maybe overcomplicating this, yeah.
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 Just walk
Do we
away.
just step away? Okay,
Sure.
Yes, please.
I will do that. I promise.
Okay, give us like, I don't know, a few minutes. Okay,
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve her, to send to the director's approval.
Second.
I'll second. Someone else did too.
Any discussion?
any discussion?
I'd say she's got more LRAP experience than many applicants do.
Yes,
when they first come in.
absolutely.
So,
Environmentally intelligent. I like to-
and it's good to have a health perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah, very good background for what we do.
Mhm.
Chris,
Chris, you have a question? Are you voting?
Yeah, comment. I couldn't tell who said that last comment, but I feel the same way. I think probably can bring a valuable skill set to the group.
Okay,
Great vote.
raise vote.
Aye.
What thing you say, all in favor? Like you
Okay,
kinda-
all in favor. I'm sorry. That's
It's
my
just
first-
Robert's rules. You'll
Okay.
get used to it. It's a
Yeah.
very like kind of.
Takes a little bit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be to
Okay,
all
all
in
in
favor?
favor.
All in favor to forward her
Aye.
application to the
Aye.
The board.
to the board for approval.
Any opposing? Is that the second question?
Mhm.
Okay. Any opposing? Assuming no,
That's
okay.
unanimous.
So we're
Huzzah.
accepting the application and we're going to pass it to the board of directors. Yes.
Right,
Okay.
so was she just gonna check back in?
Yeah, she'll come back.
So,
I'll figure
So-
out for next.
so when she comes back, you might tell her that next step is go before the
Okay.
board for approval,
All right,
and that
sure.
meeting will be,
Next
Thursday.
Thursday.
Next Thursday,
Yes.
yeah.
okay, and then we can let her know how
Okay.
that vote went.
Perfect.
She doesn't have to attend the board meeting, but she could if she likes.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, Jim, for helping me. All right, next on the agenda is the board meeting overview. Travis, will you give us?
Sure, yes, I
Please.
can do that. So I have the board agenda here from our September meeting, which was on September 11th, a Friday. I think the notable items from there is we gave a financial report for June and July, which June is notable because that's the close of our fiscal year. So fiscal year for us starts July 1 and then it ends June 30th of the following calendar year. El Rapa was basically about 10% under budget, you could say, in whole. Our Title V fund, our general fund, were each at about that 10% range. We have a fund for our targeted airshed grant, which was far under budget, but that's only because when we budget the process, we say, here's all the money in the grant and we potentially could spend the whole money. So we budget for all of it and then however the program gets through. So the component that's important is about that 10% under budget. Yeah.
Joe's back.
Hi, Joe. Welcome back. So we voted, and the next step, I'm sorry to interrupt, Travis. The next step is we're going to share your information and suggestion, bless you, to the board of directors. You're welcome to join the meeting. It's next Thursday. I'm not sure about the date, but you don't have to. And then we'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, send me the details. And if it would be helpful for me to attend, I'll try to prioritize that.
I would-
And yeah.
If you have
Oh.
the availability to attend, you are welcome, but if
Okay.
there are competing needs, it's not a high priority.
Okay.
It's an optional item for yourself.
Got it. Okay.
Just to be clear, we're recommending your appointment to the committee.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks all. And what about sticking around now? Should I say
You can.
goodbye and hopefully
Bye.
see you soon?
You're welcome to stick around if you like.
Okay. Since I'm not official, I'll say goodbye for now, I think. And thanks for your time. I welcome any other questions, whether from you or from the board if they come up, and I'll just wait to hear from one of y'all.
Okay.
All right. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Joe.
Thanks,
Nice
Joe.
to meet you all. Take care.
Good day.
So on the board packing, sorry, I was getting my train of thought back together
Yeah.
again. So last fiscal year, about 10% under budget for us, which was very nice, and I was pleased to see. Part of what we'll be doing for this fiscal year is I think the budget will be more aligned. Being 10% under budget is awesome and the goal, but I think part of that was Christina and myself in putting that budget together was taking more from prior administrations versus us saying, here's what we know our expenditures are and here's what we want to set the budget for. So moving forward, I think that we'll have more of that on budget alignment as opposed to otherwise. From there, I shared about our federal grant status updates, which is our 2 targeted airshed grants, which are our wood stove changeout program up in Oak Ridge called Oak Ridge Air. The first targeted airshed grant that we got awarded in 2019 is closing this November. So current focus right now internally is Christina Ward, our finance manager, is going through an internal audit for those files and the data to make sure that we have all of our ducks in order as we prepare to close out that grant. We have an extension request for a second targeted airshed grant that we have into the EPA. Initially, we asked for a 2-year extension, and the feedback we got was a 1-year extension was more appropriate in their mind, and they asked that we advocate for that. So we did. Still determining, haven't heard back from EPA Region 10 on that extension. We would like to have 2 years, so the current plan is to ask for 1 year, justify the need. Fast forward a year, ask for it again, and then have to re-justify the need for that extension. We reviewed the local partner calculation dues. So Eugene, Springfield, Lane County as a whole, Cottage Grove and Oak Ridge all financially contribute to LRAPA in our general fund. Combined, it's about $220,000 is what that contribution is. Fees go up annually based off CPI increases. So for our partners, it's about a 3.3% increase over last year. The feedback from the board was that they wanted the directors take that to their municipalities and then at the October board meeting, be prepared to formally adopt those fees. Also, we had a resolution 2504 for a board designated LGIP account. So LGIP is a essentially savings account that is government functioning or based. LRAPA as a PERS employer has an unfunded actuarial, I think I'm saying that incorrectly, liability, actuarial, thank you. This has been a place where I've learned a lot about in the last few months about PERS. But essentially, depending on how many PERS employees we have and how close those employees are from retiring and benefiting from the PERS pension, there's a liability that LRAPA has to burden because of that. at the moment, there's no reflection that that liability is something we will have to pay on because we don't have anybody who is close to retirement who is in that PERS. But the board thought it would be good for us to set aside a special account in our savings account that is designated for this unfunded liability that will grow in time. So that way, if there ever is a need for us to be able to manage that liability, we will be able to function and do so. So the resolution was directing us to set that up, which we are in the process of doing. And then on an annual basis in September, we will visit with the board what that account fund is or what that account amount is and what the liability is. From there, we have, which I mentioned a little bit, our permitting and federal standards rulemaking. So this was a request to the board, or more an update to the board of a permitting rulemaking that we're looking to get underway. And then let me find what those titles are. So we have a list of titles here that we're going to make some adjustments to. I'll just run through them briefly here. But Title 12, which is our general provisions and definitions, so like where we set all of our definitions of if we say this, this is what we mean. Title 30, which is our incinerator regulations. Title 32, which is our emission standards. Title 34, which is for stationary source notification requirements. Title 36, which is for excess emission reporting. Title 37, which is our general air contaminant discharge permits and our fee structure. Title 39, which we're actually rescinding, and this, or repealing, I should say. This is our PM10 contingency plan for PM10 non-attainment in the Eugene Springfield area, which DEQ already took away those rules years ago. And Eugene Springfield area is not in non-attainment, and so it's kind of a unnecessary title at this point. So we're repealing that. Title 44, some updates to, which is our hazardous air pollutants titles. Title 46, which is our new source performance standard. And Title 50, which is our ambient air standards or PSD standards. A note I should mention as well that I skipped. So Title 30, which is our incinerator regulations, that's another title that we are repealing. So Title 30 covers crematories, covers, that's my note that I have here, solid waste as well as infectious waste incineration regulations. LRAPA has 8 crematories who are on permit with us, but otherwise we don't have any of the other incinerator rules that we have. We have no permitted sources that those rules are applicable to. And Title 30 is a little outdated on those rules. And so LRAPA was at a crossroads where we could go through the process of updating those rules and regulations, which would be a big lift for us from a resource intensive perspective. And who would benefit from those updates? At the moment, nobody, because nobody is subject to those rules and regulations. And that's part of why they haven't been updated in a while, because there wasn't a driving need for it. An alternative that we can do is we rescind the title and we just implement through reference DEQ's OARs that already exist and are updated. And that's a less resource intensive approach that would provide an opportunity for, if a source under those regulations wanted to come into the county and establish a business, would allow us to use the more updated rules that DEQ has, as opposed to having to go through rulemaking where we update those rules on our end. So Max's perspective was this was a efficient way to update the rules, and I agreed. So we shared that with the board and they also agreed. And so that's one of the approaches that we're taking on that title. And then from there, it was just the director's report. We did have some engagement from folks on an indirect source permit for an e-commerce facility that we had in West Eugene. The consensus from a lot of public participation was a request to the board and myself as the director to not approve that indirect source permit. I clarified and made it known that LRAPA does not have the legal authority to simply outright say we are not giving you this permit because we're making that decision. We can only use our rules and regulations to assure that sources are meeting those regulations. And if they can demonstrate that they're meeting those rules and requirements, we're legally obligated to issue that permit, which is the circumstance with the e-commerce facility in West Eugene. Since that board meeting, we have issued that indirect source permit. One of the items that we were able to improve upon that permit from the public process is have some commitments from the source for their electrification of their fleet. So on the first year, the 5th year, and then the 10th year, they have some commitments to how much of their fleet will be electric vehicles. By year 10, that should be 70% of their fleet have EVs or will be EVs. And so the permit was improved through that process with those conditions added to the permit. And we issued that last week, the 22nd of September, I think it was, or the 24th. 24th, thanks, man. So we had a lot of public engagement and participation on that issue. And we were grateful to have those public members plugged in, really grateful to have the public comments that we received on the permit when it was out for public comment in July, as that was really key and helpful in our engagement with the source that resulted in some EV commitments. So that was a positive. And that was it for the board packet or the board meeting. Matt, is there anything that I might be leaving out or forgetting?
No, I believe that covers the bulk of it. So yeah.
Cool. So any questions from the CAC on that? Happy to elaborate or dig in deeper.
Oh, that was very detailed report. Thank you, Travis. I don't. Anybody else?
Looks to be the case.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the committee bylaws and orientation materials review. Do we have the head start?
There is an addition, that's in that packet, but not in probably the ones that you have.
Oh.
The 12 graph. But Travis, thought about putting a quick synopsis of the budget in. So we did that.
Okay, thank you.
And otherwise, I think it's.
So essentially, Heather, what you have here, kind of like walk through it, is a start of kind of the overview of what the CAC is from our membership perspective. Then the next resource is a staff directory that goes through all of who is here at El Rapa from a staff perspective and their contact information, which includes their phone number as well as their email. Some information about our oversight of how El Rapa as a public organization is held accountable through the board and through our CAC Citizen Advisory Committee and through the Budget Committee, with some, for the digital format, some links to where our calendar is, where you can find updated meeting agendas, past agendas, and meeting minutes. A little bit of some reflection on our rules and regulations, such as where our authority comes from under the Clean Air Act and then DEQ. And then a breakdown of the board of directors and who all the board members are for our municipal partners and Lane County. And then, of course, the breakdown of who the CAC is on there. And then finally, the bylaws themselves for the CAC, and then the addition of our budgets. Just one overview, kind of a snapshot of our funds and the expenditures versus revenue. And Robert's Rules of Order.
And then one more.
Oh, and then the abbreviations. We are government, and governments do like to use abbreviations. And I don't think that's a trend that's ever going to change. So here's a bunch of abbreviations that could be helpful for folks who are new to the CAC.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that, Travis.
Heather gets most. a lot of
Yes,
credit.
Heather
Oh,
did
well, Heather,
Heather
thank
did the
you.
work. I just
Yay.
talked with Heather about it.
And Kelly too, and Kelly also, I didn't put it in this packet because I wanted to see how y'all wanted me to do it, but she had a good idea of putting in like for reappointment time, if, you know, maybe a document, with the application questions and then sort of a how-to. So I can add that as well.
But like a blank application.
Yes, right, with the questions and then like, you know, what the process is, which is similar to a new one.
Yes. That's a good idea, actually, yes.
And I think that a table that has everybody's, kind of the day they join the CAC and when their term ends. So from a chair perspective, that helps as a resource of being on top of reapplications. I think it's a good idea.
Do you happen to have electronic version or?
Oh, yes, so this is just to discuss here, but yes, it is, the only one I'm printing a hard copy for is the chair.
Oh, okay, good,
Yep.
good. So to make sure, should we
Oh,
share
yes.
the rest?
Make sure I have it pulled up here.
I like the summarized Robert's rules. I learned my Robert's rules in 4-H meetings, and that was a long time ago, so every now and then, it's a head scratcher.
Yeah, everybody comes across Robert's rules in their own way. My way of coming across Robert's rules was being hired at El Rapa, so. Yes.
It's like we're lacking some members for the budget committee.
Oh, yeah,
Mm.
there's a couple, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that could be worth, potential project for consideration for the CAC maybe is, trying to solicit or identify folks in our community who could service very well on the budget committee. The way that it has taken place in the past is the board members identify who they think would be good on the CAC, and then they refer them to it. But in the last year, maybe it's been 2 years now at this point, the board has requested that we create a application for CAC member, or not CAC, budget committee members. So to help them in the task, which is sometimes I think difficult of finding that publicly service-oriented volunteer with some financial insight so they can service on the budget committee. So maybe through our network at the CAC, we might be able to identify some individuals, but that's just putting it out there as a potential item for the CAC that could service and function well for us in identifying who those potential members could be. Because we do have a bit of a gap to fill in budget committee attendance. Paul Metzler he's not with us right now, but is on the budget committee. So there's nothing keeping budget committee member or citizen advisory members from joining the budget committee. But we do need more budget committee folks.
Okay, so let's all think about some suggestions maybe. Me included. So do we want to start reviewing everything step by step, or what are your thoughts about taking?
Yeah, I like it as is. I don't have any comments beyond that, but if anyone's noticed anything.
I don't know if the online participation has gotten a chance to really.
Yeah, perhaps a question I'm not seeing. It says draft of the Advisory Committee bylaw. And it says revised 6/14/2006.
That's the last time they were revised.
So, but are there changes on this document?
No,
from-
I was
okay.
just told that that you all would like to discuss them. So
Okay, so there are not any proposed changes at this point. Okay, great.
Yeah, so there's a draft watermark on there, but I think that what you see is what the actual bylaws are. So revised in 2006, but what's printed here, while there's that draft watermark, I think that there's no draft changes
Yeah.
here presented.
Yeah, usually I'm seeing track changes
Yeah.
on anything too, so
yeah.
I got pretty confused by that.
What,
It's a bit.
I think this all started when I pointed out that back in 2011 or 12, I was given this binder that had the bylaws and other information. I found it useful. And over the years, we fell away from that. So it's a suggestion to revive it.
I'm clear now, thank you.
And we will be, once after today, if the CAC says, yes, we think that these are all good items and good resources, we'll be assembling a similar binder for Kelly because she would like one. But the perspective, as we understand it from everybody else, is that a digital version is just fine.
Okay, good. That's good information for me anyways. Okay, so do we want to give a copy to everyone so they can review, or should we just try to make a decision? We're not making any changes. Because we're open to changes, right?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
open to
Revisions.
change. I think part of the last CAC meeting, there was a discussion of what would be the items that would be helpful to pull together. And so we pulled those resources together, and this is what I think we're proposing as what could be the CAC onboarding packet. And so if there's additional refinement that the CAC has for us here, one of those being we can remove the draft watermark from the bylaws in what we kind of formalize as, or if there's other resources that you all think would be helpful in adding, which one of those is the table for appointments and when their terms are, and the application itself with the questions. So I think with that feedback, we might be able to say that this is what we think will be what we want to formalize and move forward. And then that could be the direction for Heather to put those packets together to distribute digitally and physically.
That's why it says draft, is because it's a whole packet. So the whole
Right.
packet is the draft.
Well, there's not a particular rush. I maybe do those additions and then send electronically
Yes, that's a good.
whenever it's ready, and folks that have a chance to digest it, and you could do a final approval at the next meeting.
That's a great suggestion. I mean, I would like to read it. I'm sure it's, perfect and immaculate, but still.
Yeah.
It's good to get familiar with.
Okay, so then I think what we will do is this week, we'll add to it some of the feedback we've got here. And then before close of business Friday, Heather, if you can send out that updated packet to everybody.
Yes.
And then for the October CAC meeting, this could probably be a quick do we like what we have? Yes, no, and then we can say cool. And then we'll have it be updated, and on the bylaws themselves, if there's any feedback that people have as you read through that, then we can consider if that's a thing we want to open or if we're happy with where they're at.
Good, I like it. Is everyone on board?
Yep.
Good. Okay, let's see.
Heather, will you just make sure you share the draft with Joe as well?
Oh, yes.
Just so she can keep appraised of that process. She'll be the first beneficiary of all your
Yeah.
work.
Yay. that's awesome.
100%. No, I think Kelly suggested, well, although I did get a copy of them electronically, I think it was from you, Jim, of the package initially.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's good. Good information for everyone else in the community. Okay, next on the agenda, we have upcoming topics for the committee. Well done to you as well as a group. So we have several topics. Supplemental environmental projects, rulemaking updates. I think you, Travis, covered a little bit about Title 15 and 43, then smoke school and public outreach. So do we want to?
When do you think titles 40, 15 and 43 will be ready for us to
So
look at?
don't believe that we will have Title 15 or 43 ready for the CAC to review for the October meeting. So I think that will, November, I would really like us to be at a place in November, but part of that's on me getting some items done and getting legal review through those titles. Because I would like the legal input to be provided before we bring them to the CAC, and that's something that I'm still working on. So I'm not confident we'll have that for October. So it could be that October could be ideal for us to go over our supplemental environmental projects. We do have a couple projects that are approved on our website, and so that could be a quick, like, here's what we have approved. We do have one enforcement case that the word is escaping me, the person or the respondent in the enforcement case, they're interested in funding a SEP. And so perhaps by the October CAC, we might be able to speak to where one SEP has been funded, but at the very least, we can talk to what the approved SEPs that we have open right now. That could be worthwhile.
Okay,
Sounds good.
good.
Will any of the other SEP applications be published at all? Or?
Yes, they're actually published right now,
They're published now.
and they are on our website. So if you want to go and look at that ahead of time, that is available to do so. But what we can do is just give an overview of what those programs are and what our environmental benefit perspective is. And then if we have a respondent in an enforcement case who has funded one of those SEPs, we can talk about that too.
Would it, Travis, be beneficial, or it's just requesting if the CAC has any connections for our for the process of trying to identify the appropriate specialized legal counsel for the review? You know what I mean? Just why we have this audience here. Maybe they would know of someone that they would recommend, or
Yeah, I think right now, I think we're okay for that at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
But on the SEP topic, though, I think if we review that with the CAC next month, that could be some good opportunities from the perspectives on the CAC to say, well, maybe I can, point this particular program or project or these individuals that I know, I can connect them with LRAPA and maybe they can submit an application. I think that could be a worthwhile opportunity.
Okay. Good discussion. Should we move to a round table or?
Sure.
Okay.
Does anybody else have? Didn't look like it.
Anyone for roundtable?
You have to call on people on the screen. That's the best way to do it.
Okay, we're gonna call. Chris, do you have anything for roundtable? How's the fire season?
Oh, it's dragging on, but yeah, so I guess my round table would be that we're not out of fire season yet. We picked up, I think 2 rainstorms ago, barely a trace. So we kept all of our restrictions in place. This last rain that we got started Sunday night yesterday. Oh, it looks like we're going to get about a quarter to a half, but that's not enough to go out of fire season. So, I think, Travis, I think your staff was, I don't know if it goes through you now or staff members, but, working with the county fire defense board chief to push back burn season until at least October 15th. And I don't know, I'm not really seeing anything on the horizon. It's always a little tenuous this time of year. How do you get out of fire season? And from a emergency services perspective, the problem is, you're coming out of 3 or 4 months of extreme dry, and then we have I don't know, I say 1,000, I don't know how many it actually is, but plethora of burn piles scattered around, right? And probably 90 or 95% of those are just perfectly safe, but then there's that small percentage that's not. And so if we go out of burn season, just for the rest of the people on the committee, if we go out of fire season too soon and we allow backyard, open burning, unfortunately we'll have quite a few fires. So it's a real art to try to time when it's safe to do that. So yeah, we are pushing it back. I don't know when the end will be, but I do think it doesn't need to be solved now, but I don't know what it would take to change the dates. I've seen it before where it's the burn ban dates are June 15th to October 1st, unless otherwise modified. And I don't know, Travis, if we could change that someday, my recommendation would be yes. My recommendation would be that long term we change those dates to like June 1st and October 15th, because we're always ending early and we're always kicking it back. And I think my thought is that the public would be much more receptive, if we allowed them to burn earlier than to always keep pushing them off and pushing them back. So just food for thought. I don't know what it would take what process wise it would take to change that, but
Chris, what would be your opinion on extending on the back end if the 15th was the start? I've had 2 community members just recently reach out and be like, well, if we're, being curtailed, from 30 days of getting that done, will we get extra time? And in this case right now, the answer is no, unfortunately, if you live in the areas where the 31st is the hard end date. What are your kind of initial reflections on just that, just pushing the whole event back, or would you just say 2 weeks would be satisfactory in your opinion for that process?
well, I mean, I guess I'm not 100% tracking. I'm sorry. You mean for this one in general, or just every year?
Like if we were to switch the start date to the 15th permanently, like
of
per
October.
your
Yep,
suggestion,
Yep.
Would you want to also then extend the deadline or the end date of when they can burn to past the 31st of October?
Oh, I don't know. So maybe there's a nuance there I'm not aware of. So
Yeah, so
there's a small window. Different parts of the counties have different burn. Yeah, that's right. That's
It's
right.
really, really like a Swiss cheese, because like Eugene, Springfield, Oak Ridge, and their UGBs.
That's correct.
They have to hard stop the 31st.
I've read that before. Yeah, that's a really valid, and of course, obviously, those rules have been in place long enough. I've only been on the committee a number of years, and I haven't been a part of those conversations. But they do need a length of time, right, to get that work accomplished, and we do want them to get that accomplished because that reduces the fuels and the potential fire danger around. So, yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what that hard stop date is. The 31st of October.
Yeah, so I can speak. So
they only have 2 weeks. If we push it back to the 15th, that only gives them 2 weeks to burn. Ooh.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think that there's on outdoor burning for El Rapa's perspective. Our stake on it, of course, is just the smoke. Where's the smoke going? How is the smoke going to rise? Is the smoke going to be settled at the earth and then create a reduced air quality? And then there's a health component for that. The local fire defense board and then ODF, of course, is from that fire safety perspective. Yep. So for our fall season, the October 31st being the cutoff date, that does start to become more of a El Rapa from a smoke perspective, wanting to end the season, because once we get into November, that's when we start to see those inversions set up.
Yeah,
and in a hypothetical circumstance, if someone does an outdoor burn and we have an inversion and that smoke is trapped in a low valley in any of the Cascades until we see a broader weather pattern shift, that's when we need to, that valley could see that smoke be limited. So the curtailing from October 31st onward into November, that is where it starts to become the airshed management. Our perspectives were a little bit more of a wintertime burning, gives us more of a hesitancy because of that potential for those extended inversion periods. I do know that just broadly from a prescribed burn perspective, there is an interest in finding opportunities in the winter to utilize that burning more. So if the summer season is less of an ideal season because of a fire safety concern, how much farther into the winter inversion prone season is El Rapa comfortable And from my perspective, I recognize the need to use burning as a way to reduce fuels that can become hazard. And I'm open to where those opportunities can be, but I just want to be very cautious and slow moving in stepping into those winter seasons. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, that I appreciate the insight there. I'd say if I kick it back if we kick it back 2 weeks, it'd be nice to extend it 2 weeks so that people still had the same had the same calendar time frame. But I was strictly thinking of it, so I apologize for not wearing the correct hat, considering what I'm here for. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see people have that full month time, but I have a chart on my screen here, a 20-year chart. This is year number 20. And only 2 times in those 20 years have we been out of fire season by October 1st. So it's really, I mean, to me, it's almost, I don't know. I feel bad for the public that we're always pushing them back. If we just set that expectation that it's not, it's always easier to relax regulation than it is to push one further out. So, but yeah, I don't know about the back end. That's a very valid question. So, I'd like to see them have time to do it, but yeah, I don't know what the best answer for that is.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Ben, do you have anything for roundtable?
No, thank you.
Thank you. How about Paul?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Peter.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the public outreach materials that were done for the e-commerce facility and the responsiveness to all the public comment was handled very well. That's no comment on the substantive outcome of the permit. I'm just saying that the way the agency interacted with the public on that and the video that was done and so forth was really a good effort and accomplished a lot, I think, in terms of educating the public and being responsive to the public.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. And I too agree. Matt did an awesome job putting together those materials. There was behind the scenes a lot of energy and effort that went into making sure that those were professional looking and was be understandable and well received. So I appreciate that feedback, Peter. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Jim, do you have anything?
Yeah, so this is, November would be my last possible meeting. Matt, whom I think you met briefly, is succeeding me. He will likely apply to join the committee. So if that happens, I'll recuse myself from interview discussion. And then if that happens and he is approved by the board, I'll just bow out of any further meetings as a committee member.
And it was Matt, you said, or?
Yeah,
I remember we met him that one time, but.
yeah, he dropped in that one time. But yeah, he's essentially doing the full job at Roseboro right now.
Wow. Well, you'll be horribly missed, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for all of the time that you have committed to RAPA.
Glad to do it.
But you'll still be able to join us as public participation, right?
Yeah, well,
From Idaho Falls.
possibly in November.
Okay, good. So Michael?
Yeah, I at least had one question regarding the current air quality issue. Were any of the permitted burns part of the smoke that came through?
On Sunday,
Yes.
it was not actually. That was one of the items that we were initially on Sunday, we were surprised by the smoke intrusion from the south. Essentially what it amounts to is the Moon Complex fire was a larger producer of smoke with a more of a southerly airflow than we're seeing across the state, and the smoke just worked its way into Roseburg and then farther north into our area. There weren't any ecological prescribed burns that were taking place on Sunday.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the question. It was noted, it was very smoky.
Yes, it was.
So I was wondering about the same thing.
Well, it's a funny one too, of it. It looked and felt like a lot, but the AQI wasn't as high as it looked. So I assume that was because it was higher in the atmosphere.
One of the things that will happen is the smoke goes up high and then we'll have what's called vertically integrated smoke that comes above us. And sometimes you'll see the brown above, but then the air quality will be fine. And that can be an item that happens. And when we have that, oftentimes it will take place, especially if that vertically integrated smoke's over like the Cascades or the coastal mountain range. Then at night, when our temperature is cool and all the air then descends, then it'll start to like filter then and seep into the valleys. We didn't see overnight impact in that way for us locally here, but that can be something where the vertically integrated smoke, when things cool down, it will just drain down into the valleys. And then we can at times see a big hit when that happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if that previous smoke intrusion we had may have been related to that, but not Sunday, but there was another kind of anomalous day where it was like, where is this smoke coming from?
Oh, yes, the prior week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
And that
remember
was, that was coming from the Olympic Peninsula. So
Oh, north.
same exact issue, just reverse direction. So
It's a long way.
It is a long ways.
it is a long ways.
We're so used to westerly winds.
Yes, yes, that's westerly and the northwesterly is our main flow generally.
Okay, well, it looks like I'm looking at the list with all the members, and it looks like we just need one and we'll be pretty complete. But I don't have anything for roundtable either. Thank you all for joining and have a great month.
Thanks for leading.
Thank you much.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Evelina. I know it can be a lot of anxiety the first time you're kind of like running it, but the first time's always the hardest time and it only gets easier there on out. So yes.
I hope so.
You're a natural.
I have to run. I forgot about this.